Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Eagletears in the building, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to do a tutorial. This is going to be like my first ever tutorial on Dreams, and I think that every Tuesday I might do a tutorial video. Who knows? But anyways, in today's videos, I'm going to show you guys how to create a simple horror game in Dreams. Super easy. So first things first, what you want to do is you want to create the monster. Obviously, it wouldn't be a horror game without the monster. So add a puppet, and then obviously you guys can do this however you want, and just for the sake of the video I'm just gonna create the monster. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so hopefully your monster came out better looking than mine's. And now for the next step is, of course, you're gonna need a first person puppet, because how else can you make a horror game without the player itself? So what you're gonna do is hop into Dreamiverse and type in first person puppet. I'm gonna grab this first person puppet because he's completely invisible. So if you guys want the same puppet as mine, then make sure you guys click on that one. But obviously it all depends on which one you want to use, but me personally, I want my puppet to be completely invisible. So I'm going to turn on invisibility so I can see my puppet, and then when I click play, as you guys can see, I am in first person and you can't see my feet or my arms or anything. I just want to keep it simple. So now that we've done that, as you can see, the puppet automatically follows us, which is not a bad thing because, you know, he's gonna follow us. So next step that you want to do is you want to create the interior. So now that we have both our monster and our first person puppet, what we can do is we can just put this to the side and we can start working on our interior. So I'm gonna keep this plain and simple. I want to stretch this out. That way we have more room to play with. I'm just gonna stretch it out.
And I think this should be big enough, just in case, to be on the safe side.
Now what you want to do is you want to create, and before we do this, I'm just gonna add a gadget real quick because the fog is kind of bothering me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a microchip and make it big so that way I won't lose it. And I'm just gonna label this so we know that it's the environment. I'm just gonna put clouds, and then I'm going to add sun and sky gadget. And then I'm gonna get rid of the horizon so it's just blank, and then we'll keep it white for now just so we can see everything. All right, now that we got a clear view of everything, I want to keep this in the center too. It's kind of bothering me a little bit. All right, now that we have our sky gadget up, now that everything is clear, we can clearly see everything. What I want to do is I want to grab a rectangle or a square, and then I'm going to put surface snap. That's it. But make sure that it's on stamp shape. I don't know why it keeps like staying on smear, but just make sure it's on snap. And what you want to do is you want to snap it down, and then basically you want to just stretch it out. So however long you want your interior map to be, just stretch it out. I know the thermo is moving up, but don't worry about that right now. We'll fix that later. Sometimes it moves up, sometimes it moves down. So I'm going to stretch this, and then what we're going to do is Now we could grab our precise movement or grid, whatever one you prefer. I'm just going to do precise movement. And then you want to make sure that it's nice and even. It doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, it would be better if it was perfect, but if it's not perfect, then it's totally fine. My interiors are never perfect. And then basically, you want to just line it up. So basically, all you're doing is just connecting shapes. That's pretty much it. It's like a puzzle, you know? And like I said, however long you want it to be. So say like, you know what? I don't want it to be this big. You can always just go back to tools, stretch tool, and then you can make it shorter. So for an example, be like, I want it like this much space. And then just like that, you just copy it, 90-degree angle, whatever. It's never gonna come out perfect, so just remember that. Also, it would be better if you prefer, if you would like draw it out, sketch it out. Maybe have like a blueprint. That way it's much easier, because right now I don't have a blueprint, so I'm just doing this off the top of my head, which is okay. I want to line this up so it kind of matches up. Obviously it might not be even, which is, you know, it's okay. You can line it up to the line. So now that you guys get the idea, I'm going to continue until I finish, you know, connecting this. So I'll see you guys soon. Okay, so as you guys can see, I pretty much just finished the interior, kind of. So I just made like 2x4s or 2x3s type squares. And now what we want to do is we want to create the doorways. So to create the doorways is pretty simple. So basically what you want to do is grab the cube and basically press triangle, and whatever you want your doorway to be, just make sure you cut space between. So however wide you want the door to be, just make sure you cut a space like that. I want a door right there, so I'm gonna cut a space right there. I want a doorway right here, I'm gonna cut a space between here. And obviously this is overlap, so I'm just gonna do that. So we got a doorway right there. I want to create a doorway right here. So you know, you pretty much just mess around with it. Like I said, I don't really have a blueprint, so that's why it's kind of like random. But you always want to create a blueprint in your head or write it, sketch it down. I want to create a doorway right here, and I think we should be good on doorways. So we have about 1, 2, 3, 4 doorways, and so far we're good with the interior. Now, last but not least, what we want to do is basically we want to just stretch it up now. So stretch it up, and we want to make sure that we line it up. Again, the thermal is going to go up. Don't worry about that right now. We'll fix that later. So yeah, I'll see you guys once I finish raising up the roofs for these interiors. Okay, so as you guys can see, as we raise the roofs up, you can tell that it looks a lot more better, and the interior came out actually pretty nice. So as you can see right here, it's a little crooked right here. Like you see, it's kind of like tilted over, but at the same time, it is a horror game. So in my opinion, it's fine, because, you know, we could make this like an old abandoned building where it's like crooked and not perfect. Over here, it's kind of overlapped, so I'm just gonna delete that and then just stretch it all out. Pretty much all you're doing is just stretching it out. That's pretty much it. So making interiors are actually like pretty easy. So what we're gonna do is just stretch it out here, and as you can see, we are pretty high on thermal. We have 44% graphics memory. So to fix that, what we're gonna do is go to tools, and we're gonna head over to the adjust details, and usually the red means that is too much details, but what we're gonna do is make sure we decrease the details. And as you can see, it is starting to go down. And now we are at 20, which is way better than 44. So after you do that, you can take a look inside, and as you can see, it is nice. Now, last but not least, what we're going to do is we're going to add a roof. So if you're lazy like me, what I usually do is just copy the floor and then paste it on top. But obviously, if you guys want to add a real roof, then obviously you know what to do. You grab a cube and then basically, you know, stretch it out. There might be another technique on how to do the roof, but yeah, that's one way you can do it. You can just grab a cube, and then you guys get the idea. But for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna copy the floor and then just paste it on top. And just like that, we have our roof. And what you can do too, to not make it like less, we can flatten it. And then we could just make it smaller. Like this. So this is probably like the easiest way to make a roof. Just copy the floor and then paste it on top. And there you go. Just like that, we made a roof in like 2 seconds. Dude. All right, cool. So now we have our roof, and here's our interior. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to move our puppet inside the interior in here, and we're gonna also move our monster inside the interior. So now here we are inside our interior building, and we made this in what, like 5 minutes? Which shows how easy it is to make a video game in Dreams. We made an interior building in 5 minutes. So now that we have that, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna control our monster. So before we do that, we just want to make sure that he's the perfect size. We don't want him to be too tall where he hits his head on the roof. I actually want to change his walking animation. So what we're going to do is his run speed, we're going to turn that down, and we're going to do movement walk speed. And the reason why we do that is because we want to animate him. So Let's see. You guys can mess around with this. Arm, I'm gonna just do like maybe like 8%. I'm just gonna mess around with it. Stiffness, I'm just messing around. And now let's see how it turns out when he walks at us. So it looks a lot more creepier than before. So here's what it would look like if we had it on run. If we had it on run, he would like jog at us. You see, he's starting to get that running animation, and we don't want that. So that's why we turn down the run animation. And let's see. You saw the way he turned, so we're gonna do max. So he turns at us immediately. And let's see how it turns out now. So as you guys can see, he's following us. But you see how it's kind of like sloppy. Like as soon as he turns at us, he's like backing away, which is kind of weird. We don't want him to back away from us. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete the follower behavior and we're going to add our own. So what we're going to do is get a movers gadget and we're going to add the follower tool. And then we're going to do 100% strength and 100% dap. And there's many ways we can do this. Just to keep it simple, I'm going to add a tag on us. So our tag is follow me. Actually, we have a tag which is follow me. So we already have a tag on us, which is good. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for that exact tag. Or you could do possessed puppet. Possessed puppet is when we're possessed with a puppet. So you can either do possessed puppet or follow me. So either one is fine. And now as you can see, we can adjust the speed. So if we want us to go like 6.9, let's see how fast 6.9 is. And now you guys are probably wondering, okay, why is he like doing that? So to fix that, the reason why he's doing that is because our tag is aimed at our foot. As you can see, our tag is aimed at our foot. So to fix that, there's two ways you can fix that. Either you can adjust it up to our torso, so that way he's like more towards our torso, or we can make it to where the y-axis, we turn that completely off. So that means no matter where our tag is, he's gonna stay perfectly stiff. So now again, you guys are probably wondering, okay, so why is he like looking away from us? So to fix that, same thing, we're going to get, and we're gonna put this in a keyframe too, so that way it makes our life much more microchip. Sorry. So that way it makes our life much more easier. So we're gonna grab a microchip and we're gonna put follow me in here, and we're also gonna put look at me here. Look at rotator. And again, we already have a tag in here already called look at me. So this is perfect. We don't even have to add a tag. So we're gonna do same thing, 100%, 100%. We're gonna turn off the y-axis so that way he's not looking up or down. And then we're going to use look at me. And then before we play, what we want to do is we want to put on grid snap, and we want to click on this. And as you can see, the arrow is pointing to his left side. So what that means is that he's going to be facing the left side. So we don't want that. So we want him to look directly at us. So what we're going to do is click on this and we're going to face it forward. So now he should be looking directly at us. And as you guys can see, it's already coming out perfectly fine. Now, in my opinion, I think he's moving a little bit too fast. So obviously, if you want him to move a little bit slower, all you have to do is just go to follow me gadget and make it slower. So I'm going to put 3, 2.9, whatever. And as you guys can see, he's walking a little bit slower. So again, this just shows how easy it is to make a game in Dreams. And then as you can see, he gets close to us and he won't stop. So far so good, but obviously that's a little bit too slow. So I think I'm just gonna put it back to 6.9. Okay, so now that we got him to follow us and everything, what we're going to do is we're going to label this microchip and call it Chase Player. And then I guess we could label this red, and then we'll do whatever. We'll just do this. And then we're going to turn this off for now. And the reason why we're going to turn it off is because we don't want him to chase us from the start. I mean, most games, killers, they spawn all the way in the back and they have you chase them from the beginning. If you guys want to do that, then I guess you're pretty much done with this game. But if you're like me and want to create a pathway for your killer so that way he's not chasing you from the start, then here's what you would do. Now, I said there's two ways you can do this, but I'm going to do this the easiest way. And the easiest way to do this is so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a cube and I'm going to turn off the surface snaps, and I'm going to put a cube. And I'm just going to color this red or green. I'm just going to do green so that we know what this cube is for. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a microchip into our cube. And then I'm just going to label this pathway. Now that we have that, you know, I'm just like to be extra. I'm just going to do this and then label it white. And then now what we do is we go into our action recorder, and basically what you want to do is you basically want to record wherever you want the monster to roam at. So I'm just going to do this, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So I want him to roam here, and then I want him to go inside here, and then I want him to go inside here, and then I'm going to have him walk all the way around, and then I'm going to have him go all the way back, and then I'm gonna have him go into this room where the player starts off, and then just roam around. And then you basically want to do this until he goes back to where he started from, and boom, that's simple. So we're going to test it out, see if our cube works. And as you guys can see, it does exactly what we told it to do. Now, as you guys can see, it's levitating a little bit, which is totally fine. Okay, so now that we have that out the way, now what we're going to do is, again, we're going to add a microchip. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do following pathway. And then I'm just gonna label this just so we don't get our work mixed up. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add another followers gadget. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our keyframe, or our tag, I'm sorry. We're gonna grab a tag, and we're just gonna label this whatever you guys prefer. I'm just gonna label it green box. And then place the tag directly on the box. So now, as you guys can see, the tag follows the box because we have it on there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to same thing, 100%. We're going to turn down the Y axis, and then we're going to make it to where he follows green box. And just like that, our monster is following the green box. Now, as you guys can see, he's standing on top of the box and stuff, which we don't want. So what we're going to do is we're going to tweak the box, and then we're going to make this not collidable. So that way, now as you guys can see, he no longer is colliding with the box. He's just following it, and wherever the green box goes, he follows. Now, as you guys can see, again, he's like walking backwards and stuff. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to get a look at me. And same thing, we're just gonna have him look at green box. And remember, to don't forget to make him look forward. As you guys can see, he's looking at the green box. And now wherever the green box is going, he's facing towards. And just like that, we have a roaming monster. So let's see what it looks like in first person. I'm going to rewind it back. So now, just like that, we created a pathway for our monster. And we did that in like 3 minutes, which shows how easy it is to make a game in Dreams. So just like that, our monster has a pathway. He's going to roam around. He's going to go inside our room. He's looking. And yeah, you guys get the idea. Now, obviously, we don't want the player to see the green box. So what we're going to do is very simple. Again, tweak the box. And not only are we not going to make it collidable, but also we're not going to make it visible. So as you guys can see, once we hit play, our box is now invisible. And now it's a walking monster. Okay, so now that we got the pathway to work perfectly fine, now what we want to do is we want to make it to where once we're in his trigger zone, he begins to chase us. As you can see, we're inside of his trigger zone, but he's not chasing us. That is because we didn't add anything to make him chase us yet. So what we're going to do is, just to make things less complicated, I'm going to add another tag. And I'm going to label this, I don't know, main character. Or main player. I'm just going to do player right here. All right, we're going to do main player. And then we're going to I want to just add the trigger zone to his torso just to make things easier for us. Great, so we have a tag called main player. Great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to now add a trigger zone. And then what we're going to do is we're going to adjust it. So whatever you want, this is all up to you. However close you want him to be, then the monster will begin to chase you. So this is how I want my trigger zone to be. So this is pretty wide, right? So whenever the player gets into this green trigger zone, then that's when he'll begin to chase us. So what we're going to do is we're going to tweak the trigger zone and we're going to add tag. And the tag that we just added to our player, main player right here, so that means that once our tag that's on our player enters this green zone, he'll begin to chase us. So what we're going to do is the microchip that we created earlier where he follows us, we're going to plug that in. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a keyframe. Now this keyframe, what this does is we want to turn off the pathway. So what this means is that once we trigger the green zone, our keyframe will activate and it will turn this off, so that way he's still not going into that pathway. And make sure to turn the keyframe on. Great, now let's test it out. So he's doing a pathway, he's walking the pathway, he doesn't see us. Now we're gonna walk into that green zone. And as you guys can see, once we get into his green zone, he starts to chase us. And just like that, that's how easy it is to make a horror game in dreams. Now we're not completely done yet. Now this is where we get into the fun part. We got the pathway, we got the chase. Now this is where we get into the fun part. This is where we get to decorate the maps. This is where we get to you know. So I'm just gonna keep it simple, and I'm just going to just make this gray. Okay, so I added some gray towards the wall just to give it more life. And now what we're going to do is the sky gadget that we had earlier, we're going to bring that inside of here. And now we're just gonna mess around. We're just gonna make it look a lot more scarier. Like I said, this is the fun part. So you guys can do whatever you want, how to make it scary. I advise you guys to not make it too dark, because I know some people make games a little bit too dark. But we're gonna add a sky gadget, and I don't think we'll be able to see the sky outside, so we probably won't need this since we're inside. So what we're gonna do is we're going to go back into cameras and lighting, and we're going to grab a grades and effects. And the first thing I like to do is I always love to special effects, and I always like to sharpen it. So I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but it just makes the graphics a lot more sharp. Next thing what you want to do is, you know, just mess around with it. So you got this, you got the bloom, you got the lens flare, you got the grain effect. So if you guys want to add like a grain effect, you guys can do that as well. I'm gonna add a grain effect. Actually, I'm gonna make it about 18, 17. Yeah, we'll do like 17. You get that little grain effect. Oh, already creepy. Look at that. Look at the monster right there. Ooh. So let's do, we can add a little bit more. Let's do like 23. You got the balloon type effect. So you see here, this is how people make them, like them indie type games on Steam and stuff. Just make it a little dark. Make it a little dark. You can also do resolution. So if you want to make like the game a little bit like pixelated type, you can also do that as well. So you get like a pixelated type effect. I'm gonna add some fog in here. Yeah, you see it has a circular shape, but you can change it. I'm going to do square, and you can do noise strength. You can do density, like you can make it darker, you can make it barely. I'm going to make this like grayish type. And I'm basically just gonna add like fog. Pretty much you just want to, you know, just place it around. Place it around corners, place it in doorways. All right, so let's see how the fog looks. Obviously it looks a little crazy, but you know, you guys get the idea. I'm not the best when it comes to fog, so, but yeah, you guys get the idea. And now, obviously, last but not least, this wouldn't be a horror game without the jump scares. So before we wrap it up, we're gonna add the jump scares, and then there you go, you have your horror game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do studio lighting, since we made it a bit dark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another trigger zone. Now this trigger zone is different from the first one, because the first one is where he has us chase us. But now what we want to do is we're going to make it to where if he gets close enough, then he'll kill us. So I'm going to add another trigger zone, and this time we're going to make it a bit closer to us. So we're going to do, because remember, we don't want him to kill us from far away unless he has like some type of superpowers. But so what we're gonna do is, I think I'm gonna do it to like about right here, and then the z-axis So when he gets this close to us, then he'll murder us. So what I'm gonna do is, once I do that, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a wireless transmitter, and I'm going to label this kill, and then we're going to plug this up into the signal to receiver. Now we're going to go back, and we're going to grab a wireless receiver, and then we're going to grab a destroyer just to test it out. Actually, no, we're gonna grab a text displayer, and then we're gonna plug that up. So that means once he triggers the wireless transmitter, it'll connect to here to the wireless receiver. And this is important. Make sure to label this as kill because it matches the transmitter, and make sure to label this to scene. And then for an example, I'm just gonna put dead, and then I'm gonna put it to the main screen. This is just a test, just to test it out to see if it works. And then we're gonna put the text in the middle of the screen just to test it out. So right here, he's walking the pathway. It's a lot scarier now that it's darker. And then he does not see, now he sees us. But as you can see, we don't trigger the trigger zone. And the reason why it didn't work is because I made a mistake, and we all make mistakes. And I forgot to place the tag to main player. So now it should work now. Doesn't see us yet, and now we're dead because we got too close. But I don't like the way that our trigger zone is set for this, because I feel like our radius is a bit small, so I'm going to expand this up a little bit, make it wider like that. All right, let's see now. So he doesn't see us yet. Now he sees us. Now he's chasing us. And if he gets too close, we are dead. Great. Now that we know that that works, now what we can do is we can delete this, and we can add our jump scare. So to do that is pretty simple. So what we want to do is we want to, this is the easiest way. This is the way I prefer to do it. So what you can do is go into the gameplay gear, go to doorway, and then click on doorway. And then we're going to do dissolve, and then we're going to make it black. Make sure to click on this paint bucket. We're going to do black. So what this means is that once he kills us, we're going to go into the next scene. Boom, you see it goes black. So now what we do is we save this scene. We're going to label this horror game. And then we're going to save version online as private. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back, and we'll make sure you want to save your monster. Where are you? Click on our monster, save as new creation, label it as monster or whatever you want. All right, now that we got our monster, we can leave now. I guess we can save. Great. Now that we have our monster, we go to new scene. And then we add our monster in here, which is right here. We grab our monster, Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Oh, right here. Great. Now that we have our monster, we're going to make them extremely huge or whatever you want. We're going to, again, grab our sky gadget. We're going to grab a microchip. We're going to get a sky gadget. And what we're going to do is we're going to make everything black. And obviously it's a little bit too dark, so I don't want it to be that dark. I just want the background to be dark. But yeah, you guys can mess around with it. Okay. Sky brightness, we can make it bright. Let's do white. And now that we have it's just me and this monster, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab a timeline. And we're going to grab a camera. And then we're going to just zoom in on the killer, the monster right here, just like that. And then we're going to add camera shake. And make sure to hide the imps. And this too. And make sure to put it on cut. And then we're going to add a camera shaker. And then you guys can play around with this. You guys can do whatever you want. I'm going to keep pressing play. So I think that's fine. Probably add a little bit more, like. That's fine. And again, it is looking like he's looking away for some reason. So I'm just going to do auto look. Turn that off. Turn off auto look. That way he's looking straight at the camera. And like, as you guys can see it already, you can already see the jump scare. And then add a jump scare. And then there you go. You have a jump scare. So obviously you're going to add sound effects. Let me see. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to modes, go to sound mode, click on search, search sound effects, and then type in, I don't know, maybe jump scare. All right, sure, we'll go with this. Now let's see. Boom. Gonna zoom this in. And then once we finish dying, we want to go back to the game that we were playing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into gameplay gear, go into doorway, and then boom. Make it black. And let's test it out. Let's see how it looks. And then it fades away. Great. Now we have our jump scare. Just like that. We made that in literally 3 minutes. We're going to save. Scene. Jump scare. Save as private. And there you have it. So now we are literally 90% done. Now all we have to do is just start creating new dream, and we're going to add our horror game in, and then we're going to add jump scare. So that means that once the door triggers, once we get caught by the monster, it triggers the jump scare. And then once the jump scare is over, we'll go back into the game. Hopefully that wasn't confusing. And then we're just going to label this horror game, or whatever your game is going to be. Save version. Oh, you got to add it to category. So let's do horror, since it's a horror game. There we go. Save. Save, yes. And congratulations, you just completed your first ever horror game. So let's see how it turns out. So here's our horror game right here. Already looks pretty creepy. Let's play. All right, so here we are. We're in this creepy abandoned building or whatever. Oh crap, there's the monster. Hopefully he doesn't see us. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. We get caught. And back into the game. And there you guys have it. That's how you make a horror game. And we made a game in literally, what, 30 minutes, an hour? So yeah, it's pretty easy making video games on Dreams. And I hope you guys come up with crazy good creations on here for all the new dreamers out there. And again, I'll try to do tutorials every Tuesday. And if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.